Hi everyone, I'm Clint Talbert. I'm pastor at First Pres Maumee, and what a week we all have had. We've been trying to figure out what is the faithful response to the coronavirus and the health epidemic that we are all now facing. And we've been wrestling with this as a church and a staff, wondering whether it's faithful to continue to gather, not gather. It's been a really challenging question, as I'm sure it has been for you as well. Well, I was challenged and uncertain about what to do until I remembered who we are and the mission that God has given us. We're a church that just got done celebrating our 200th anniversary. We're a church that has as its motto, love first. We exist for our community, for others. In fact, in 1851, this is the timeline we just installed. In 1851, this congregation encountered a situation that I would guess is not too dissimilar from this one right now. That in our community there were cholera epidemics that caused people to retreat into their homes, to quarantine themselves, to keep to themselves. And it was this church that in the midst of that time of fear courageously opened its doors for prayer and to serve our community. As we wrestled with whether to gather or not, our mission helps us understand God's call on our congregation. Just a little while ago, like many of you, I listened to Governor DeWine's press conference, and he was accompanied by the head doctor of the Ohio Health Department. One of the things she said was that we as a community, we as a state, will be dependent on those organizations whose primary purpose is to care for and give back to our communities. She didn't say the word church, but it was clear to me that she was saying, we need the church. You likely have heard that the governor has canceled school for 3 weeks. So, for example, the question remains, there are many children who will not eat if they do not eat at school. What's going to happen with those children? That's just one of the many, many questions that our community will be facing. And I am resolved that our congregation exists for a moment like this. We need to be ready to serve our community in whatever way that looks like in the weeks to come. Therefore, we will gather for mission in some way or another to serve children, to serve our community. I don't know yet what that will look like. That being said, if we're going to gather for mission, we also must be willing to gather for worship. Because worship nurtures the spiritual life of the congregation. Worship is what builds us up for mission. Worship is what reminds us of who is in charge and why we need not be afraid. And so here's the plan for worship for at least the next 3 Sundays, and then after that we'll take it week by week. We will be worshiping as one church at one service. That service will take place at 10:30 in the sanctuary. That service will, generally speaking, be a fairly simple service. Because even as I'm calling us to continue to gather for worship, I don't want anyone to feel obligated to be here. Therefore, we're not obligating our band members. We're not obligating the choir. We're not obligating the handbells. We're not obligating our ushers. We're not obligating our child care workers, because it's important that each person use their own judgment about what is wise and faithful for them. So this one service at 10:30 will likely be a very simple service. It will represent our church, but most importantly, it will be the church family gathering to worship Jesus and be built up by the Holy Spirit. We will open the doors of the sanctuary at 9 o'clock for anyone who would like to come and pray. We will be offering light music as you pray, and that may be a time for some who say, I'm not real comfortable gathering with the larger community, but I do want to come into the house of the Lord and pray. So the doors of the sanctuary will be open at 9. At 10:30, we will have one worship service. And I hope that you will consider coming and worshiping with us. Now, even as I hope there are many of you who will fight back fear and come and worship with us, there are plenty who probably should not come. For some of you, engaging in the mission God has given us means you need to refrain from gathering with us, either because of your own health or because a call placed on your life right now is to care for somebody who is at risk, or because you yourself have been sick or someone in your household has been sick. If you should not be here, I want you to give yourself permission not to be here. Those who gather will obviously be taking the appropriate common sense precautions. We'll be trying to spread out a bit. We will refrain from shaking hands. We will do all of the things that we have been advised by the professionals to do. But in a moment like this, it's important that we don't give in to fear, that we continue to be the people that God has called us to be, that we get ready for the incredible mission opportunity that will be given to our congregation, and that we worship and glorify Jesus Christ as the most important part of being ready for that work He has given us to do. And so I'm so grateful that our church leadership has agreed with this plan, and look forward to see what God will do in and through the life of our congregation and this community in the weeks to come.